Hey everybody, it's Adrian Nelson, yeah, and this is just going to be a very quick video. So what I've done is I have asked a couple of my regression hypnosis clients that have had sessions with me, what was your biggest concern about the session? You know, like sort of like what is the biggest thing that you were concerned about prior to having your session? Now, if you look on my website, ahngreatlife.com, there's, you will see that under the regression hypnosis or past life regression hypnosis section under services, there's a whole write-up about, what regression hypnosis is, or what we normally call past life regression. There's this article specifically for how to prepare for your session, if it's an online session, if it's an in-person session. But everybody sort of unanimously agreed that they still felt a little bit nervous about what if they completely sort of like lose consciousness and they're not aware of what's happening around them. I think the one thing that the sort of overall sort of like, agreement throughout what everybody said, which was such a beautiful thing for me, is that everybody said, like, we did trust you, though. There was not a sense of not. So they were sort of like slightly apprehensive towards the process, but they trusted me. So I was like, oh, it's such a beautiful thing. So first of all, I'm very grateful for that. Thank you very much. So just a couple of things that I'm gonna hit run through. It's that feeling of that. Some people were concerned a little bit of what they may say or what they may do. There is a recording for the session. I'm gonna very briefly touch on that, and then also. Some people were a little bit concerned about noise around and how noise might have an impact on the session, especially those who had online sessions. What if maybe I live in an apartment block and somewhere on another level somebody was drilling, or there was a car driving past, or a baby starts crying? Will those things have a negative impact on my session? And the answer is no, but it's a little bit of a dot dot dot. We're going to get there. Okay. So first of all, for those of you that don't know me, I'm a born intuitive. I normally do weekly readings on my AHN Great Life YouTube channel. So I put a lot of information on there about regression hypnosis as well. I'm a crystal healer, I'm a Reiki master, I'm an NLP life coach. I do a couple of other things. And I sort of bring all of that together in the session, which is also really fantastic. Is if you look on the website, on my website, ahngreatlife.com, there is a section there that says free resources. And you can get your free natal chart over there, your Enneagram, which is sort of like your personality. And it's really great if you check that out prior to the session, because when you can tell me what your personality number is, even though, when you work with us for quite a bit, you get to pick it up after a while, it gives me a bigger idea even of what your personal challenges are, and what your personal strengths are, your natural strengths and your natural challenges, and we can work with that, okay, which is really, really great. But as for the present thing, now there's one of three things that normally happens when you have a regression hypnosis session. You either go on like a light, and I have to tell you, those cases are incredibly far and few in between. And even people that are normally out with like a light, they would normally be out like a light for only a very small part of the session, not the entirety of the session, all right? Because as I mentioned several times before, hypnosis isn't sleep. You're not sleeping. You're not gone like a light. You're not unconscious. Hypnosis is a simple thing. And there's other videos about it. If you look on my YouTube channel under the playlist, Disco of the Soul, you will see that there's a whole lot of things over there that really explains to you how hypnosis is really about becoming calm. It's about becoming calm and focused so you go into your mind. That's it. You're still aware of your surroundings, but they don't bother you that much. So just again to address that, and because it keeps on, for those of you that obviously watch several of my videos, I'm very grateful for that. Feel more than welcome to share that with others, who might be thinking of getting sessions and things like that. But if it keeps on coming up, to me it means that it's still a concern that that people have. So I'm going to keep on speaking about it because it's beneficial for everybody. All right. So the thing to remember is that hypnosis isn't sleep. You're very much present. You're very much aware of your surroundings, even even when they don't sort of bother you too much. It's almost like being aware of what's happening at the back of you, but you're not too bothered with it. So as I said, some people are gone like a light. Most people are very present, and usually, the majority of people will sort of feel somewhere in between, where you may even say, "Oh, that was wonderful," but was it my imagination? Did I make it up? That sort of thing. Okay. So if there's any sort of imminent danger or whatever the case may be, you'll actually just become fully conscious, and nobody needs to help you sort of do that. You'll just become fully conscious. Okay. Um, then, of course, there's the concern about saying certain things that might be embarrassing, that might be incriminating, or doing certain things that sort of like falls in that same line. Now, I think first of all, and maybe this is the reason why I would say in all that I do, there's such a beautiful connection. Since I was a child, people who just come and tell me their stuff, like, and it'll be a little bit crazy. I'll be like, I'm a child, you shouldn't tell me these things, but I don't have judgment. I never have. I may have an opinion about something, but none of us are really perfect. As human beings, a lot of times we strive for perfection, but none of us are perfect. All of us do things and have done things that we wish we haven't done in our lives, said things that we wish we haven't said. All of us, all of humanity, because we are all a work in progress. We are the master and the master becoming simultaneously. So what I would like to also remind you, for some of you, you may not know, is that, sorry, when we have a session, your session is being recorded. Okay. Now, it's sort of like two-sided. The one reason why, when you go and see any regression hypnosis practitioner, whether they are more sort of clinical sort of practitioner, like in a more psychological setup, or whether they're like me, a regression hypnosis practitioner, which goes more sort of like into the deeper parts of your consciousness, your past lives, your life between lives, which is in the soul plane, where you sort of go like to your Akashic records and source, and maybe meet your departed loved ones and those type of things, become full-blown psychic, and that can basically happen for anyone in a session. So with the recording, the thing to understand is that the mind can sometimes make up false memories. All right, especially if you are very committed, sorry, to the idea that you are a victim, that people are out to get you, that nobody's on your side. You can actually make up a false memory. That is possible. But if you're working with a trained professional and somebody who knows what they're doing, they would be able to tell when the mind is going in a haywire direction, and will be able to take control of that. So in that sense, also, I would always recommend have a session with somebody that you really trust, that you've got a sense of affinity to. Don't sort of book a session because you feel pushed or you feel pressured or you must do it. Because first of all, you won't really go into trance, if you don't really trust the person that's doing the session for you. Or you might go into trance, but you're very concerned, so you sort of stay on the brink the whole time. So instead of swimming in the swimming pool, you're sort of like just dabbling your toes in the water. And if that's all you're ready for, that's also perfectly fine. So the one side is to safeguard the practitioner. I know a lot of people don't say this, but I'm not really about that whole hiding of information vibes. I'm very full disclosure, all right? But the second part, and also those are like really, really, really far and few in between, like really, really far and few in between. But the second part, with the wonderful part of there being a recording, you will maybe say something in a session. I mean, you understand your own mind better than I understand it. And you may say something in a session that might not sort of have that huge impact for me, but then afterwards, when you either listen to the audio of your session or you look at the video of your session, you will have that breakthrough realization. Now, with all of that being said, I think it's also very important, because this is something that we miss sometimes, is that whether you have this really, really powerful visuals that you get in your mind, or whether you don't really get all that much, that doesn't determine whether you had a successful session or not a successful session. A lot of the work sometimes happen afterwards. Like I've had clients before that didn't really get a lot of imagery and stuff like that. But then a couple of days later, you maybe start getting all this sort of like, light switching on in your mind, or you get beautiful dreams, or you get epiphanies, or you suddenly start imagining things. Um, because regression hypnosis is really just about opening the mind to the beautiful possibilities that already exist, okay, for you. It's about unlocking the potential that's inside of you, the potential that you were born with. And so a lot of times when we sort of go to either a past life, you get to see where you were blocked, but it could also be in this lifetime, and it's called timeline regression. A lot of the life blockages that we experience actually take place inside of the womb. And some of you may have heard me tell this before, but I think the real session that changed things for me is I had a client that came to me, couldn't understand why she's having challenges with her parents, good upbringing, good career, everything good, but trouble with the parents and trouble with relationships. And what actually happened is, while the mother was pregnant, now we have to remember this is a couple of years ago. This is like I think it was the late 70s. So it's a very different time of the world than what we are in at the moment. Mother got pregnant. Father didn't want a child, planned to have an abortion. That didn't happen. Baby got born, loved each other, got married, best possible parents on the universe. But the pattern of, being unwanted has already been settled in. And so when we had this regression hypnosis session, all of this came out, and you normally remember everything very well. So it came out of the session, and this lady was like, I don't know. I don't know. I said, well, take it as it may. Maybe it's true, maybe it's symbolic. But if you feel comfortable, speak to your parents about it and let's see what comes out. As it turns out, that is exactly what happened. But the funny thing is that nobody ever shared this with this girl. Nobody shared it with the parents, or the parents didn't share it with anybody else. I think the only person that knew was sort of like the mother's mother, so the grandmother, but she never told anybody. She has passed along a long time ago already. So there was sort of no way that this girl could know this because nobody told her. And so that is the powerful thing about regression hypnosis, because you tap into the all consciousness. The mind doesn't stop. All right. And then when we sort of go to what you call life between lives, the soul plane, that is where you kind of, and for me, it's always so beautiful. It's the one thing that if you have to have a camera on me when I do sessions, it's just astounding. And sometimes the tears literally flow because, when a person like really gets why they were born, what was their purpose, what is their reason for being here, that you add value to this world, that you came here specifically, when you really get all of the greatness of who you are, it is so amazing and it's so life transforming. It is just, I've got the most beautiful job in the world. I really, really do. Okay. And then just the other thing is that people are sometimes concerned about background noises. And also, other concern is also if you've got a very chatty sort of mind, maybe a very negative mind, a very sort of argumentative mind, um, very concerned about that. But that is perfectly fine because the aim is never to try and change who you are. And when we go into sort of trance, um, and that is the wonderful thing about having this incredible NLP training and working with sort of like the Enneagram to understand your personality. Different strokes for different folks. Some people, I'm going to tell you a little story, and and that's going to be perfect for you. Whereas somebody with a different mind, if I tell them the same story, they're going to be like, oh my goodness, you're boring the life out of me. And for them, you maybe get them very quick things again, or you repeat the same thing over and over again, because all you really want is to sort of make the conscious mind tap out and go into the subconscious. That's it. All right. So there's many different ways that you can do that. With background noises, this is very interesting. You can try this in your own life, and Eckhart Tolle speaks about this in The Power of Now, which was his amazing book just before A New Earth. And it's like when you, for example, listen to a dog barking or a tap dripping, and I'm giving you things that used to irritate me, a door squeaking, those are things that could drive me beyond insane. But when I came to understand that that at some point I accepted that as an irritation, and I can also choose to not accept it as irritation anymore and go away just like that. So the beautiful thing about the voices in your head that could be used to your benefit in the session, and even with outside noises, you can use those sounds to relax you more. And that is the beautiful thing about it, because again, you are not sleeping, but what's incredible is that you really get this deep rest. It's like, and I mean, especially how crazy the world can be sometimes, and how challenging being human can be sometimes. You really get to rest within your cells, within your molecules, within your muscles, within your emotions, within your mental state. And when is the last time that you really rested? And the great thing is that a great benefit is that you go into that surrender state where you put out to the universe everything that you want into the vortex of possibility. But now you're stepping back and you're getting out of your own way, and things can just flow through for you. It's like meditation on speed. It's actually really, really amazing. But I just wanted to speak to you about that very, very quickly. And obviously, if you've got any concerns, feel more than welcome to check out my website, ahngreatlife.com. I like to sort of write a couple of blogs on there when I get some time to do there. You can join my Facebook family, my Instagram family. They're all AHN Great Life, which stands for Adrian, Heinrich, Nelson, which are my names, because my journey really started with me. And the thing that I didn't sort of like about myself was my middle name. So I said, well, let's start right there. And so it's just about sharing what really works for me. Okay, so any questions, let me know, but do check out the website. But if you've got questions, feel more than welcome to send me an email. My email address is everywhere. It will be in the description of this video, and it's really everywhere else. Okay, so from my heart, namaste, love and light.